All right, Coach, obviously it was a tough result the other night in Manhattan. What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
My biggest takeaway is we have to execute a lot better, and we have to be more composed. I didn't think we had our composure to start the game. We let them get off to a big run, and that established them with a lot of momentum early, and we were fighting uphill the rest of the way. We have to be more composed in those situations, and we have to just execute our defense and offense better so that we're not in situations where we're fighting uphill the entire time.
Johnny, when you look at a team like Kansas and what they've been able to do, what stands out to you about that program and what they've looked like so far this season?
Well, great team, great program, storied program. And, of course, Coach Self, Hall of Famer, has done an amazing job with his group the entire time he's been there. Of course, we have a lot of respect for who they are and what they do. And so we're looking forward to competing. And as always, our guys are preparing because they're our next opponent. We prepare the same way for everyone. And that means we're giving max effort in our practices. And we're learning, the system that we're going to have to play to be successful.
Speaking on the game, there were a couple plays where passes just went out of bounds, shots weren't going down. Do you feel like the moment got too big for your guys, or what was going on in those situations?
Like I said, we didn't stay composed, kind of similar to what you're saying. And that's important. That's maturity. And that's also, being in those situations. That environment was terrific. And when you're in that environment, there's a learning curve for that. You have to get comfortable in understanding what you're doing. Your communication has to be at an elite level. And guys have to be poised out there. You can't let that crowd and all the energy in the building speed you up. I thought we got sped up based on everything that was going on in the arena. And so, we'll learn that lesson and we'll grow from it.
There were a couple times where you made a run. What did you like from that game?
Well, I always like the same thing. I thought our guys kept competing. I don't think the score showed the fight that our guys had. Just that, when we got down by the margin we did, I think our guys started trying to get us back. They thought, we don't have no 10-point play, 15-point play in basketball. I thought we kind of broke down to individual basketball. That's not who we've been all year. We've moved the ball, shared it, and so we got out of character because of, having that deficit during that time of the game.
Jalen Sillers has obviously been such an offensive weapon the entire season. What does he need to do to get going? Obviously, he kind of struggled a little bit in this last game.
We need to learn from the game that we just played. He's a marked man now. And that's a role that he's in, and it's a great role. But there's a learning curve for that as well. You have to learn, okay, what do I have to do to be successful in these moments? He and I are watching tape, showing him things that he's capable of doing on the floor. Letting the game come to you is a big part of it. You have to be patient in those situations, and basically just understanding that you are a good player. You're in that position for a reason. They're guarding you hard in certain situations for a reason, and then just grow into your role, which he's doing.
Johnny, you've been and coached and played in big games. You obviously know what the atmosphere can be like. It's going to be a sellout crowd. What is your message to the team? How do you keep the team from maybe getting too caught up in all that emotion that's going to happen maybe Wednesday night?
Well, we have to stay grounded. I've talked to our guys about that in my own way of staying grounded, understanding, great opportunity. You're playing against a storied program, storied coach, and you want to just stay, in the moment and not make it bigger, bigger than it can be. And I think when you're looking at teams like that, like you're saying, everyone builds up the crowd, everyone builds up the opponent you're playing. Our guys have to stay grounded, understand it's still going to be about the same thing every game is about during the year. It's execution.
But to the kind of point of the atmosphere, how important is the atmosphere going to be that you build here when you're bringing these type of opponents in and your crowd is kind of feeding into your guys as well?
Great question. On our end, it's terrific. We're excited to kind of, do the same thing that we faced this weekend, where our crowd is going to be raucous. They're going to be, a full house, sellout crowd. Of course, we're excited about that. And for our guys, when you're a competitor and you're a player, you want to be in atmospheres like that. And when you're at home and you can have that, what an advantage, to have everyone in the arena on our side, or most of the people in the arena on our side. It's a great feeling. We're excited about it. And we can establish a great tradition when we're doing things like that with our community as well.
Obviously, tough loss, but how are you preparing to bounce back, and how is your team prepping for the upcoming game against Kansas?
Well, of course, it's very disappointing. We didn't have the outcome that we wanted. It was a tough road, loss for us, but we have to learn from it and get better. We have 18 games in the Big 12. We've played one. And did we put our best foot forward? No. But we know we can. The one thing that I love about our group is that we believe, and we still believe. And so for us, you have to take a next play mentality, go into that game with the right mindset, prepare, understand what we have to do to execute to be successful.
Kansas is obviously one of the storied programs in college basketball. Top team this year, number 2 in the country. They were in a dogfight the other day against TCU. What do you know about this year's roster? What kind of stands out to you about this Kansas Jayhawk basketball team?
Talented basketball team. A lot of players that can make plays on the perimeter and on the interior. They do a really good job of executing in the half court offensively, and they're sound defensively.
Johnny, basketball is obviously a game of runs sometimes. How do you guys manage to kind of avoid getting in a situation where if Kansas runs off 8, 10 points, maybe you guys survive some of their early runs so you guys can maybe come back and have your own?
Is what I said about the K-State game, composure. You have to stay composed. Teams are going to make runs, and we're going to make runs. But what you don't want them to do is have extended runs like we did the other night. You want to be able to stymie at that point where it's manageable to still accomplish your goal. And so for us, learning from that last game is how do we stop these runs? We have to execute better offensively to make sure we're searching out a great shot and not taking what we think is a good shot. Defensively, making sure that we understand what the game plan is and locking in on things that we're trying to take away from the team, not giving them their strengths, making them play to their weaknesses as much as we can.
What do you hope that Darius Johnson learned from that first time in the Big 12? Obviously, an important piece for you. It wasn't the greatest outcome for him. 5 turnovers, fouled out.
Absolutely, and we have to help him more in those situations. Again, his comes from a good place. I mean, when you're struggling offensively, you're trying to find ways to get into the paint and create. So he takes it upon himself to do some of those things. And so his doesn't come from a bad place. It's just that he needs to pick his spots better and needs to trust his teammates more. Like I said, there's no 10 to 15-point plays. We all have to work together to create that opportunity to score the basketball. And sometimes he's good enough to get downhill because he's a strong driver to either get fouled or make a play. Now at the level we're playing, defense is going to collapse. They're going to clog up the lane, and so it's not going to be there as readily as it has been before. So you have definitely got to connect with your teammates more in those situations.
The team's identity being defense and hard basketball. Were you pleased with how the defense played, and do you feel like the environment got too much for them?
No, I don't think we defended nowhere near the way we had been defending all season long, and that was disappointing. No, I don't think they felt our pressure. I don't think they felt the way we want to defend, and we have to do a better job of that. And we talked to our players about that after the game and when we watched film about that's our identity. And the one thing we can never lose in any game is our identity. And so everything we're working on right now in preparation is getting back to playing UCF basketball, playing fast, defending hard. And our guys, they're practicing, a lot of energy. They're practicing spirited. They're competing, all the things that we need to do to move forward.
Johnny, you saw this when you worked with Coach K at Duke. Being the blue chip, being the hunted, obviously that's what Kansas is under Bill Self. How difficult is it to, year in, year out, always have that target on your back and yet still come up with the seasons and the success that they've had?
No, absolutely. The thing about being a blue blood in a program like Kansas is this. You're going to get everyone's best shot every single night. Now, that can work for you because you have to always be prepared. You don't have any night that you go in the game where young people are going to give you less than their best. That means you always have to be at your best. So that you learn to consistently do well. The thing that's phenomenal about teams like Kansas and Duke, of course, is that you look at the sustained excellence they've had, the decades of excellence they've had. Like, it's one thing to get there. Like, you see teams all the time who will get there, great tournament run or get to the tournament. But they've been able to sustain that for decades, which is remarkable. And that's what a blue blood program does, is it's the consistency of high standards and winning success, more so than just getting there, every now and then.
Do you know Bill Self? Is there a relationship there? Have you crossed paths?
Yeah, I know, Bill. Of course, we've been in the business a long time together. Really good man, great competitor. He's done a great job at Kansas ever since he's been there.
All set? Appreciate it. Well, actually, one more question. I'm sorry. You mentioned staying grounded as being a key. Is that kind of go hand in hand with making sure your guys don't lose to the brand, the flashy, the Jayhawk, all the tradition and everything like that? Can teams lose to a brand if they're not mentally prepared?
They lose to brands all the time. And it's important for our guys to understand we're playing the players that are in front of us, not the players that played last year, 5, 10 years ago, because of the storied history of that program. You just run down the list of players that they've had. You know, you're playing the players you see today in front of you, and that's very important to always stay in that moment and not get caught up in all the successes they've had in past.
All set?
Sure, how y'all doing?
Hey, DeMarr, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've played in the ACC, so you've been in a lot of hostile venues throughout your career. You went into another one, UCF's inaugural Big 12 game at Kansas State. What did you take away from that experience, and what do you hope the rest of your teammates kind of learn from that game?
I think the biggest thing I took away from that game is going on the road, all you have is you and your teammates and the staff. I think we went in there and, you know, kind of got lost in the fight, really. Came out, I think their first couple buckets, the crowd got loud. I think we kind of just lost our composure. And that's just, you know, it's something new that we faced. Obviously, first game in the Big 12 in the conference, but really first road game. I know we played Miami early, but we kind of held in there with them. But this first game against Kansas State, I think we lost our composure, and that's not really us.
What do you know about this Kansas team? Obviously, coming in here on Wednesday, the number 2 ranked team in the country. What stands out to you about this team?
All I know, watching film, they just play well together. They're a good team, gel team. They play well together. They play inside. They got a couple shooters on their team. And we definitely got to beat them off the boards too.
Obviously, rough result, but how are you guys prepping, and how are you guys intense in practice, knowing that you have this big game coming to your home arena?
I think every game that we've played better in, our practices leading up to it was good. I think preparation for Kansas State, I don't think we're mentally locked in. I think, we were kind of complacent coming off wins, and that's something we just got to get out of. And that's a mindset, that Coach Dawkins and the staff is trying to preach to us. We can't be complacent coming off wins. We got to, be more hungry to get wins against whoever we're playing against.
You kind of echoed, Coach, when you talked about what you learned from that first Big 12 game, right? You didn't have the composure you needed. But he talked about this team, even having lost, still having the belief that, as you look at the roadmap of Big 12 opponents that you're going to face, you can still compete, you can still win. Can you just elaborate on that, the type of belief that this locker room has and what they can do?
I think the belief that, Coach tries to instill in us is, it's just one game. No matter how much you lose by 50 or you lose by 1, it's just one loss on your record. People not really going to go look back at the stats or the score of the game, and that doesn't really, affect us in any way. No matter what happens, at the end of the day, it's just one loss. So he telling us, just move forward from it, learn from it, and just get better.
There were a couple plays in the game where the ball was just sailing out of bounds, missed shots after missed shots. What is going through your guys' mind in that situation, and what is Coach telling you to regroup?
Once again, it's just, loss of composure. We got to think as one, be as one. And, when the ball's sailing out of bounds, off turnovers, whatever, missed shots, whatever it may be, once again, that's just a sign that's us showing you guys that we're not locked in and then being as one.
What do you think it's going to mean to this team to be able to play Kansas? One of those teams that's been at college basketball, blue blood, they're number 2 in the nation. Is that pretty cool that you guys get to, show what you could do against one of the top teams nationally?
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But once again, Coach Dawkins, one thing that he preaches is, it's not about the name on the front of the jersey. When we get out there, rankings don't matter. It's me versus you, my matchup versus you, and team versus team. So we're not really worried about ranking who you are, where you come from, any of that. We're playing 5-on-5, us versus you.
What will it mean to have a full house here Wednesday night of UCF fans supporting you guys out there?
It'll mean a lot, really. Hopefully come out with a big win. And then, from now on, UCF fans and students will come back, come out. And now we're also getting back from break, too. So games, those Christmas games, there wasn't a lot of people. Not too many people. I know students was home and everything, but, definitely, hopefully, a lot more people will come out.
Your team's identity is defense. How important is that going to be going into Kansas? Playing Kansas.
It'll definitely mean a lot. Defense didn't travel to Kansas State. So it'll definitely mean a lot, moving forward. We got to, have it travel to every single game. I think we was ranked high defensively nationally. I think we was 3 or 4 at one point. So we got to kind of, keep that consistency on the defensive end.
What more do you know about Kansas as the different matchups? I know you kind of spoke about them earlier. There's some particular players you're going to be keying in on. What else kind of stands out about the Jayhawk team?
I think Hunter is probably one of the biggest matchups we got to focus in on. Our bigs do a great job guarding whoever we've been up against. So we're definitely gonna give them help on that, like we always do. They give us help with the guards and everything. So definitely gonna give them help with Hunter.
You mentioned this earlier about not paying attention to the name on the front of the jersey. I mean, how it's easy to say that, but how difficult can that be sometimes not to get caught up with the idea of you're playing the number 2 team in the country, and this is a team that's won a national championship a couple of years ago. How difficult is that to kind of put that out of your mind when you're doing that?
Definitely, it's definitely tough because growing up, you used to watch all these teams on TV: Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, all them. But growing up and maturing, you realize it's the name on the jersey is just a name on the jersey. Because when I step on the court, we're on the court. I'm not really looking at you as this big star. I got to try and beat you now. So it's not really name on the jersey who you really are. It's about me and my team. It's about us.
Coach said that you guys went down early, and then you guys just felt like you were fighting an uphill battle the entire game. How important is it going to be to try to get off to a good start next game?
Yeah, fighting from behind is definitely tough against anybody, especially in college basketball. We definitely got to just find our groove early. I think we allow teams to, kind of punch us in the mouth first and then try to fight back, and that's just something that we got to get out of, and that's just the identity part.
Hello.
Omar, obviously, it was a tough result at Kansas State over the weekend. What do you think this team is going to learn about that first time outing in the Big 12?
I feel like just getting used to the atmosphere and just being in the Big 12. This is our first year, so this is all just a learning from us, and we just got to come in with the right just tenacity and just be ready to win.
Omar, I'm going to ask the same question I asked earlier about how do you avoid kind of getting caught up in the limelight with the name Kansas on the jersey in front of you? How do you kind of avoid getting kind of caught up on all that when you guys face them on Wednesday?
I feel like one thing with me that will help me over the years, just treat every game like the same. Like, it doesn't matter because any team is beatable, any team can win or lose. So I just feel like if we look at every game the same and come out with the same intensity that we need to do to win, it really doesn't matter. Just how, like DeMarr said, the name in the front of the jersey really doesn't mean nothing because at the end of the day, it's between me and my team on the court.
Coach preached that one of the main reasons why you guys lost against Kansas State was that you did not keep your composure. How do you feel about that statement, and what else do you think didn't go right for you guys?
Really just the start of the game. I just feel like, it was a sold-out crowd just looking in the stands. I feel like we can't look at that. We can't get too high, too low. We just got to come out and be ready to play. Really, that's the biggest part, is be ready.
What do you think you can do better next game?
I feel like we just got to regroup as a team and come in and talk to each other because at the end of the day, when we go on the court, it's really us versus them. And it was a away game, so it's really mostly them. So we got to fight the crowd and just the energy and come in and be ready to win.
Omar, I imagine you're going to be matching up against Hunter Dickinson, one of the top players in college basketball. Obviously, very experienced, had been in Michigan. I'm sure you've been watching film and stuff. What makes him a really, really tough player to defend?
He definitely has a good touch, good feel for the game, good IQ. I played him before at Illinois, so I got a little bit of experience. But he probably did get better as a player. But just bringing from what I know, us as a team, we just got to play hard, be ready. Don't let him get to his sweet spots, and just work him.
What do you kind of remember from that first matchup when you were at Illinois?
He was a big physical dude, great touch. Like I said, he's definitely shooting it more than when I first played him. But we just willing to preparation, just me and Eves, just talking and see what we got to do, talk about how we played them before and what we did that what helped us. So really, we just feeding off each other and helping each other out.
Omar, you guys are going to be playing in front of a sold-out crowd, most likely, Wednesday night. How important is it to get that crowd going and get them to get raucous and help you guys out maybe during that game?
I feel like for us, the first thing that we got to do is lock in on defense because the defense set tones, the defense win games. So if we come out and we lock in on the defensive end, I feel like offense is going to fall through. And since it's a home game, the energy is going to bring for us and it's going to feel good.
Just a little bit more on like the crowd impact. I'm curious, like Coach talked about a lot in the lead up to the Big 12 opener about the hostile environments you were going to go into. And you said, you saw the sold out crowd and maybe everyone's eyes get a little wide. Can you just elaborate on what it was like stepping into those environments now that you have been in it? I know there's just so much talk. Like, what is it going to be like now you've experienced it? What is it like?
I just feel like the biggest difference, like, is really us versus them. So when they make plays, it's going to be a lot louder than when we make plays. When we make plays, it's silent. But when they make plays, that's what brought them the energy. So I just feel like for us as a team, when we make plays, we just got to be loud and just enjoy the moment of the play and move on to the next play and keep on making plays to keep the game going.
Coach preaches the team's identity is defense, and that he made an extra point saying defense can travel every night. Offense doesn't always travel. Do you feel like your defense traveled into Kansas State?
It was a couple just little assignments that we missed on the scout report, but the defense, it was a little shaky in the beginning, but I feel like leading toward the game, we start getting better. But like I said, the crowd with the energy, they had the momentum the whole time, so we was really just fighting an uphill battle.
You said that key for you is to just treat it as any other game that's important for you and whatnot, but this is Kansas coming in, number 2 in the country. This is one of the biggest games here in program history. As a competitor, I mean, just talk about how excited you are for this opportunity and the chance to prove what kind of team you guys have.
The biggest excitement I have is just really just showing what UCF could do and why we deserve to be here. Because, at the end of the day, like, we never had this opportunity before, so this is the time to make history, and we got to do and show what we can do.